Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about do this if someone does no contact on you. Okay, so I'm going to get into the main point and then there'll be some additional things that can help you. So the first thing is that you got to ask yourself who was to blame, right? So if this is a breakup situation, who did the breaking up? Who did the dumping, right? If it was you and you now regret it, then perhaps you need to reach out and say something, like say that you're sorry for breaking up with them, okay? If if it's their fault, if they're the one that broke things off, then you don't need to do anything, okay? But if it was your fault, if you was the one that did the dumping and now you are feeling regret basically about breaking up with them, then you need to reach out to them and say sorry. If you haven't done so already, if you've already said sorry to them, if you've already said, look, I regret the breakup, I want to get back together, then, and you've already done that and they're still not talking to you, then there's not really much else you can do at that point, okay? But if you were the one that got dumped, then there's not really much you can do, okay? You have to wait, basically. You have to wait out and wait for them to reach out to you. Now, when I say wait, I don't mean that you're sitting by the phone or crossing off the days on your calendar, things like that. Don't wait around for someone who you're unsure of who is coming back. Right? If you're not sure that they're coming back, then you shouldn't be waiting by the phone for them, okay? It's best to assume that they're not coming back and to just move on with your life. Try to move on. Obviously, moving on, I say that very flippantly, but obviously moving on does require a lot of time, a lot of healing, and a bit of persistence, okay? Moving on there's a lot more to it than just moving on, okay? It takes time, basically. So one of the ways that can help with this is, you got to improve your life in every way and focus on yourself, right? Just focus on yourself for a time, because sometimes, we're focusing way too much on how they're reacting to things, how well they've moved on. You sort of check up on them every so often, look at their social media page to see what they're doing. You got to take the focus off of them and focus it back on you and your life, because you can't control them. Okay, you can't control them at all, but you can control you. You see, you can control what you do with your life, and you can control what you're doing with your own life, right? So that's what you've got to focus on. You got to focus on you and improving your life, because there's no way that you can tell if they're going to come back or not. So, with that being said, letting go and moving on is the best path for you currently, okay? Because they'll reach out to you if they want to come back. They will. So, letting go and moving on is the best thing to do. Now, if you've had a particularly turbulent relationship or it was a relationship that lasted a long time, then perhaps you may need some therapy, some counseling, which I highly recommend that you go and get for yourself. I'm just a coach, I'm not a therapist, but you may need one, okay? They will help you move on. Or perhaps it's not that intense, so you can perhaps do the moving on yourself. Perhaps you just need time, okay? And when I say time, what I mean usually is if you were together for a few months, then 6 months should be enough before you can start dating again, start meeting new people. But if you were together for 1 year or multiple years, then you may need a year to get over it, or a year and a half to get over it, okay? To start feeling better. Now, the reason why I say that is because usually with relationships, most of the time with relationships, they are very emotionally intense experiences, especially if you get broken up with and you didn't want the breakup to happen, right? And because of that, you feel bad, you feel awful, right? So you need time. And basically, by having 6 months or a year and a half, that will give you enough time for your emotions to simmer down and for it to feel less intense. But if let's say you went into a rebound, then you're bringing all these intense emotions and the fact that you're not over your ex into this new relationship, and that's never going to work out well, right? It's going to be it's going to be an even more turbulent time with someone fresh, basically. So it's better to give yourself time to get over it so you start to feel better. Now, it's important for me to address things that may keep you stuck, because there may be some things that you're doing that are preventing you from moving on. Perhaps it's already been a year and you're still not over it. If that's the case, then there's probably a few things that you're doing that is not helping the situation. Like you may be watching loads and loads of videos on how to get your ex back. That kind of thing will keep you stuck. Okay. Another thing that will keep you stuck is watching their stories on social media, or checking up on their social media profiles. That will keep you stuck. You need to kind of go cold turkey with that kind of thing, right? If you want to move on and you want to heal, then it's a good idea to watch videos about dating, get better at dating. It's a good idea to watch content on how to get over a breakup, things like that. That may help. But again, you don't want to be consistently watching those things all the time, because if you're watching how to get over your ex videos for a year, then that's not going to help you, because you're still focusing on, I'm not over my ex, I'm not over my ex. So just pick one video. It doesn't have to be mine, just any of my videos. It can just be a video on how to get over your ex. Follow the steps in that video, and then decide to not watch any more videos related to that topic, and you're going to watch videos now on like maybe self-improvement, how to make more money at your job or things like that, working on your goals, maybe exercise videos or something like that may help you, and maybe perhaps videos on dating techniques, right? So you can get better at dating, so you're focusing on the future and not the past, okay? To be a bit more forward thinking. But if you do feel like you're going through something and you feel really bad and you feel awful and it's taking you a long time to get over it, then you may need help from a professional therapist or counselor, because they can help you go back into the past and sort of like rearrange those things so it makes a lot more sense, so you can heal from it, okay? So letting go and moving on, crucial, okay? So another thing that can help is journaling about it, like writing it down. It doesn't have to be like in a physical journal. It could be like on a Word document on your computer, or it could be on a note on your smartphone. Just discuss how you felt, what you thought about in that time of your life, right? It could be writing down those particular memories that stand out, because a lot of people do have that. They have memories of past relationships that they've been in. It doesn't even have to be about relationships, but just troubling memories. Right, troubling memories. And if you've got troubling memories that keep you up at night, that you can consistently think about, let's say like every day, or they just reoccur quite often, it doesn't have to be every day, then you need to work through those. Okay? You need to write those memories down, and you've got to write them down in a way that is concise and true. Because a lot of people write things down, and when they write things down, like in a sort of like a dear diary sort of sense, or they're writing down events of their life, they write it down as if it's like a book, or as if it's something that someone else is going to read one day. But you don't want to do that. You want to write down the concrete truth. You don't want to put any fluff in it, make it less intense. You've got to say it for how it actually was, right? The actual truth of what happened. Okay. Now, if you're embarrassed about it, which is fair enough, everyone's done a lot of embarrassing stuff that they'd rather no one ever knowing. Everyone's got a few skeletons in their closet that they wish no one would know about. Then that's fair enough. Just delete it afterwards if you're doing it on your smartphone, or if you're doing it on a computer, right? Or if you're writing it down on a physical piece of paper, then just burn it or flush it down the toilet, right? No one has to read it, okay? This is solely for you, so you can work it out. You can work out what happened, okay? And after you wrote those things down, perhaps you like let's say you write a few pages of that certain event, of a particular memory, and then afterwards you say something like, you ask yourself questions like this: okay, what would I do now if I was in the same position? What would I change? What would I do differently? Right? Another question might be good to ask is, what did this teach me? Right? What did this show me about people, about the world? That might be another good thing to ask. Okay? So you do that. And then hopefully that will make you feel a lot better about it, right? And sometimes, when I've done this for myself, sometimes if I've got a particularly tricky a tricky memory that is really hard to get over, I have to write it down a few times. I have to do it over again, because it's something that's still bothering me, and maybe there was something that I missed out, right? Okay, so that should help with getting over those certain events, certain things that you're not happy about. But when it comes to them doing the no contact, if someone does the no contact rule on you, there's only two options that you have, right? Let it go, because they were the one that broke up with you, and no amount of you contacting them is actually going to help. Okay? So you've got to just let it go. If they broke up with you, it has to be their idea to come back. It was their idea to leave, so it has to be their idea to come back. So you just have to wait it out. And then if you did the dumping, if you was the one that did the dumping and you haven't yet apologized for that and said, look, I'm sorry for breaking up with you, perhaps that was too much of a harsh decision, let's get back together. If you haven't done that already, then you need to do that. And if you don't hear from them, then you need to back off. You have to wait for them to respond, basically. And their response may not be something that you like. You may, because perhaps they reject you and they say, look, no, I'm not interested in getting back together with you now. And you have to just accept that and do no contact too. Or perhaps they will want to meet up with you, which would be great. And then maybe you can reconcile things. But what you need to remember as well is that your ex is also an ex for a reason. And there was a reason why you broke up with them. Okay? And you need to remember that. Don't look on your relationship with nostalgia. Look on it with truth. Now, the beginning of the relationship may have felt really great. But the end of it probably didn't feel that great, which is why you broke up with them. Just something to consider, okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.